In today's class, I will help you to know how to answer the questions, textbook questions, how to answer the textbook questions of the poem Dust of Snow by Robert Frost. You know, in the poem, you have come to know. What have you come to know? Dust of Snow. When you went through the poem Dust of Snow, what have you come to know? You have come to know that the poem talks about, something that is very important. What is this? We human beings are like, we live in a world which is full of, understood, beauty. But as human beings, what do? We look not at the bright side of things. We always look at the dark side of things. So it is our tendency. If you cultivate a tendency, or if you have a perception like that, you will not be able to live a sound life, a good life. To live a good life, you need to change your attitude towards life, your outlook towards life, your perception towards everything in life. Understood? What does it mean? It means 100 people, out of 100 people, if there are 100 people, out of 100, think negative. Understood? They think negatively about anything in life. Out of 100, how many people think? Out of 100, nearly, I must say 99% of people. Why? It is because we always get carried away. We get carried away by something bad. We do not blame ourselves if there is something bad that has happened to us or to our lives. If we experience something bad, all we hold responsible for is somebody or something around you. This is how you make your life hell. You don't invite others to make your life hell. You yourself are responsible for making your life a living hell. So this poem by Frost, understood, teaches us to give up the bad perception, give up the bad idea that we form about life in this beautiful world of life. It is you who is responsible for the bad situation in your life. Those who think positive can bring about change in their life. They can, what they do, understood, inside the class as a student will shape their tomorrow only if he thinks positive. There are many students who always are doubtful. Even Lord Buddha said, we doubt others. Why do we doubt others? Because we ourselves are filled with doubt. A good person, understood, always see others as good people. Why? It is because he is a good person. He is good from inside. Whereas a thief, even the person in front of a thief is a wise man. According to the thief, the person in front of him is a thief. Why? Because he himself is a thief. Understood what I am saying? So, you always see the world like you are. Understood? You always think that the life is like how you see your own life. If your life is full of problems, who will be responsible for this? You yourself. Suppose you are a good student. If you don't read, you have many books. If you don't read at all, if you don't touch them, can you score good marks? Can you get good marks? You have to go through the books. You have to answer the question. You have to master the art of answering the question. You have to learn how to think before you answer a question. Understood? You have to know how to answer. To know how to answer a question, you have to learn how to extend the boundaries of your thinking. How to expand your mind. To extend the boundaries of your thinking. How to form good ideas. How to form good sentences. How to form good answer. How to write good answer. To write good answer, you have to work hard. You have to spend a lot of time thinking about how to write the answer to the question. What will be the first thing that I have to write? What will be the second thing that I have to write? To give a finishing touch to the answer that I am writing. Do you get me what I am saying? Is there any problem? Now, come to the poem. You know, in this poem, what we have seen is the poet is sad. Why is he sad? He may have got some personal problems. We human beings are filled with personal problems. When you live in this world, your life is full of problems. And when you see your life filled with problems, when you see that your life is full of problems, to you, life is a hell, isn't it? So you think that when my life is full of problems, you know, I think it is better to what? To feel sad. And is it the best way to, will it be good if you spend your time feeling sad about the problems that you have got in your life? So the best way is when you admit that if you are alive, there will be both happiness and sorrow. Why? Life is full of joy and sorrow. Life is a mixture of joy and sorrow. So, to avoid, understood, the day-to-day problems that make your life, understood, difficult for you to live, clear, you have to think positive. Those who think positive, life will be beautiful to them. Am I right or not? How can you beautify your life? If you think positive. You always think that if I am alive, there will be problems, I have to solve those problems. A man is a problem solver. Today you have this problem, tomorrow you are going to have another problem. This is life. If you are alive, you will have go on facing problems, one by another, one after another. They will problem. Understood? And a man leads his life as a problem solver. Those who are good at solving the problems are the happiest man in this world. Those who are afraid of the problems that they face, they are the worst people. They are the most unhappy people in this world. So, the poem is a very good poem, written by Robert Frost, isn't it? So, the poem teaches us that think positive, life is full of problems. If you don't, if you give importance to the little problems that you face in your everyday life, then you yourself are making your life better. So, in this poem, what happened? We have seen the poet was feeling sad, so he went to a hemlock tree. He sat under the hemlock tree. Suddenly, a crow came flying and sat on one of the branches of the tree. The season was winter. That was the reason why, you know, snow gathered everywhere. Understood? The ground was filled with snow. Understood? And there were snow that settled. Understood? Some snow settled on the branches of the tree. When the crow shook, understood, its body, he shook down upon the poet some particles of snow. And the moment the poet's body, understood, came in contact with the snow that fell from the branches of the tree, or when some particle of snow fell on the poet sitting under the tree. The mode, the bad mode the poet was in changed into a good mood. Right or not? So, what the poem teaches us is that, every beautiful thing in nature is beautiful. Understood? Every beautiful thing. And it has the power to, understood, heal. It has got healing touch. Every beautiful object of nature, understood, can act like a doctor to save you from mental illness, to help you to get over your day-to-day problems. The problem that the poet carried in his heart vanished, understood, vanished the moment some particles of snow fell on him from the hemlock tree. So, the poet wants to say that the world is very beautiful. Every beautiful object in nature has the power to free you from the mean qualities, from the day-to-day problems that affect your life. Every beautiful thing, everything in the nature is beautiful. If you tell me, hemlock tree and the crow, they stand for bad omen. Bad omen? Bad things. Clear? They impact your life. But who actually branded them, or who made them represent bad omen or bad things or bad sign? Who? We human beings. We human beings branded these things. We said that they stand for, hemlock tree stand for bad sign, bad or evil thing, or bad omen, understood? And crow is black in color, it stands for bad things or bad shine or bad omen, understood? We human beings have done it. But to the real people, nature is as beautiful as anything in the world. Nature is pure and perfect. World is as new as the moment and as old as anything in the world. Understood? So everything in nature is beautiful. So don't feel sad at all. Don't make room for anything that becomes the cause of your sorrows. Life is very beautiful. We ourselves are responsible for the destruction of beauty in life. So we need to, the poem frees us from this kind of perception about life, from this kind of idea that we form about life. The poem frees us from this sort of ideas that we form about life, that we build about life, that we think about life. Is not the poem freeing us from the bad ideas that we form about life? So if you want to live, think positive. Every beautiful thing in nature is beautiful. Today you may have good time, understood? Tomorrow you may have bad time. But as human beings, we always think positive. If you are a good man, you will always think that life is filled with joy and sorrow, understood? So if I have happiness today, tomorrow I may have sorrow, understood? Because they are interlinked, clear? So I must accept both joy and sorrow equally. I must give both joy and sorrow equal importance. A beautiful day is as important as a beautiful dark night. Dark stands for something evil. But can a night be bad? Because if the day is beautiful, night is also beautiful. right or not? So it depends on how we perceive or see bad and good in life. But to those who are good people, they always see everything, understood, as the source of happiness. They don't have time to brood over bad experience. They always think that each and every moment of life is precious, valuable, because man is mortal. We are here for a short span of time. Maybe we will live for 100 years. We will not live for more than 100 years. So each and every second of life is precious, valuable. So we must not make improper use of each and every second of our life, thinking about what is bad and what is good. This is how we can lead a very good life. Understood? Let us now come to the question answer. I am sure you may think that pretty lengthy lecture might have made you feel sad, but it was necessary to give you idea about what is the poem all about, isn't it? This poem presents a moment that seems simple but has a larger significance. Compare this other quotation from Robert Frost. Always a larger significance. A little thing touches a larger thing. So, what do you think? This poem presents a moment that seems simple but has a larger significance. Understood? It presents a moment that seems simple but has a larger significance. Let's come to question number 1. What is a dust of snow? What is a dust of snow? A dust of snow is a particle of snow, or dust of snow stands for some particle of snow or flakes, isn't it? Some fine particle of snow or flakes. Is that clear? What does the poet say has changed his mood? The poet says that the fall of snowflakes, dust, fall of what? Snow, dust. Clear? Fall of dust of snow from the hemlock tree, understood, on him changed his mood. Why? It changed his mood because when he sat under the hemlock tree, his heart was filled with sadness, unhappiness, sorrows. He was carrying sorrows in his heart. Understood? So, he was feeling depressed, and the feeling of depression disappeared the moment a particle of snow, clear, dust of snow that fell from the hemlock tree touched him. It means the poem shows how powerful the beauty of nature is. You are as little, we human beings are as little as the nature is big or large. Understood? We are very small, tiny, isn't it? Even Charles Newton once said, the knowledge that I have gathered, do you know who Charles Newton is?
Yes.
He has got he has 3 laws in your physics book. One of the laws is every action has same and opposite reaction. Understood? Every action has same and opposite. That man, I'm talking about that man. He was one of the greatest scientists in the world. Understood? Even that fellow said, my knowledge of physics is like that of a, pebble on the seashore. Understood? So, whatever knowledge, whatever little knowledge he gathered, it was comparable to a pebble on the seashore. You get it? So, you never claim to be an educated man. Education is totally a different issue altogether, a different thing altogether. Now, I want to tell you, have you got? So, the poet wants to show how large the world is, nature is, as compared to the tiny world, tiny perception we form about life. Each and every human problems, understood, of jealousy, sorrow, happiness, understood, they can vanish the moment when you come in contact with nature. Nature can change you into a different man. Nature says, what the poet wants to say is, when we come in contact with nature, what? The nature will make us forget, understood, what is the real beauty of life, what is the real happiness of life. The real happiness of life is, open your inner eye and enjoy the beauty of nature. When you have a lot of problems, material problems, day-to-day problems, problems of human life, you go where? To see the sea. Go to Puri. The moment you come, the rushing tides, they will change your mind. They will change your mood. You will think that life is not to, understood, enjoy eating. You will think like, I don't have time to spend my life eating good dishes, wearing good clothes, understood, mixing with good friends. Life also consists of what? Things like watching the beauty of nature, enjoying the beauty of nature. Have you got what I'm saying? I don't know whose phone is this. If it is your father's phone, he will come and pick it up. Let him come and pick it up. If you want to give it to him, you can. There is no problem. Do you want to give it? Okay, go and give. Now, you know what? So the answer to the question number 2 is given. What does the poet say has changed his mood? So the answer to question number 2, what does the poet say has changed his mood, is answered already. Then question number 3, how has the poet's mood changed? Question number 3 is, how has the poet's mood changed? Now I will answer the question number 3. When have you eaten anything before I came?
Huh?
Have you taken your breakfast before I came?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Now, is question number 2 clear?
Yes.
Okay. What does the poet say has changed his mood? It is the beauty of nature that changed his mood. What is the beauty of nature? The fall of the snow from the hemlock tree that touched him, made his what? Unhappiness go away. You get it? The unhappiness that the poet carried in his heart vanished the moment the snow, dust of snow fell from the hemlock tree on him. Is that clear?
Yes.
Now come to question number 3. Is this good if I am discussing the answer to the question like this? Will it give you some idea how to answer the question? Is it the best thing am I doing today, or I'll give you the prepared question answers? Okay. Now come to question number 3. how has the poet's mood changed? We have come to know, it is clear to us that when the poet was sitting under the hemlock tree with sorrows in his heart, suddenly a crow shook down on him some dust of snow. Understood? And as soon as the dust of snow fell on him, his mood changed. Do you get it? The sorrows that he carried in his heart vanished. This is how the poet's mood changed. Is that clear? Now come to question number 2. How does the frost present nature in this poem? How does the frost present nature in this poem? Frost present nature in this poem in like nature is the most, nature has what? The healing power. It's beautiful as well as it has got healing touch. Nature has healing touch. The moment you come in contact with nature, every little material problems, understood, that trouble you, that make your life hell, will vanish. Understood? So nature is more, understood, beautiful than what you think it is. Am I right or not? Does not the nature have healing power? Or does not have the nature a healing touch? It has got healing touch. Why? What do you see as part of nature? Can you tell me? Hello? The dust of snow is nature. Is not it a part of nature? And the nature touches. At the nature's touch, what has happened? The material unhappiness that filled the heart of the poet vanished at nature's touch. What is nature's touch? The fall of the snow, fall of the dust of snow from the hemlock tree. Is that clear? Have I been able to give you a good answer to this question? So this is how, Robert Frost presented nature in this poem. According to him, nature has got healing touch. It is the most beautiful thing. When we human beings come in touch with nature, whatever material problems we have got, they are bound to vanish and provide us, understood, with the permanent source of happiness. And we will feel like nature can beautify our life. It can make our life a heaven on earth. Your life can be a heaven on earth when you are free from material problems. Am I right or not? The poet sat under the tree with problems in his heart, right or not? And at nature's touch means as soon as the fall of the dust of snow, understood, touched him, what has happened? At nature's touch, his personal problems vanished. And when our personal problems vanishes, what happens? When our personal problems vanish, what does life become? Life becomes a heaven on earth. Isn't it? A life free from problems is a heaven on earth or not? Is the most beautiful life or not? If you have the most beautiful life, if you have a very happy life, what can it be compared to? It can be compared to a paradise on earth, the happiest man on earth, isn't it? So nature can change us into, nature can free us from our personal problems and can change our life into a happy life, as nature can free us from our personal problems. When our life is free from personal problems, we can call ourselves the happiest people on earth, isn't it? Then to us life will be like a paradise on earth, isn't it? So this is how how does Frost present nature? This is how Frost presented nature in this poem. Is that clear? Now come to the following questions may help you to think of an answer. What are these questions? What are the birds that are usually named in this poem? What are the birds that are usually named in this poem? Only crow we have got. We have not got other names. Do you think a crow is often mentioned in this poem? Yes. When it came flying, and when it sat on the branch of the tree, and when it shook down on the poet some dust of snow. Understood? On the poet. You get it from the hemlock tree. What images come to your mind when you think of a crow? When we think of a crow, we see crow as a symbol of what? Bad sign. As a symbol of evil. Evil thing. As a symbol of bad omen. Is that clear? It means a crow stands for bad omen. Bad thing. Is that clear?
Yes.
Again, come to question 2. Again, what is a hemlock tree? A hemlock tree is a poisonous tree. Understood? And you might have heard about a philosopher who was made to commit suicide by drinking hemlock. Who was it? It was Copernicus, Galileo. Who was? No. There was a man, a philosopher, who said, in those days, charge was respected by people. Charge was be all and end all. Charge used to make decisions about everything. So, according to Charge, the sun moves around the earth. Understood? But that fellow, Copernicus, said, Copernicus or Galileo? I think Galileo, no?
Yes,
Galileo said, he actually saw the earth and solar system under a powerful microscope. He studied the space, and he came to the conclusion that earth is a satellite of the sun, and it moves orbit the sun. But according to the Charge, what? Charge believed that it is sun that moves around the earth. But Galileo was the person who said it is earth that goes or that moves around the sun. So he was told to take hemlock or drink hemlock, and thus died. Galileo was killed by the Charge. So what is a hemlock tree? A hemlock tree is a poisonous tree. Why does not the poet write about a more beautiful tree such as a maple or an oak or a pine? The poet wrote about a hemlock tree because he didn't find it important, understood, to take other tree only because it was hemlock tree that was needed for this poem. Why? Because according to the people in this world, hemlock tree stands for
Bad sign.
bad sign, understood, or bad omen, or bad symbol, understood. It carries bad significance, understood. It stands for something evil. That was the reason the poet had chosen hemlock tree. What do the crow and hemlock represent? Joy or sorrow? What do the crow and hemlock represent? Crow and hemlock represent sorrow,
Yes.
isn't it? Because crow is black in color, so it stands for
Black.
something evil, understood, or something bad. Whereas hemlock is a poisonous tree, it stands for, or it represents something bad, isn't it? Have you ever have there, oh, or there are some other questions. What does the dust of snow that the crow shakes off a hemlock tree stand for? What does the dust of snow, what does the dust of snow that the crow shakes off, the dust of snow that the crow shakes off a hemlock tree stand for? The dust of snow that a crow shakes off a hemlock tree stands for joy, isn't it? Why? Because it was a source of the poet's everlasting happiness.
Yes.
When the poet sat under the hemlock tree with sorrows in his heart, understood, he was feeling very sad. The moment the dust of snow that the crow shook down on him of the hemlock tree, clear, the poet felt free from the problems, or the problems that he carried in his heart vanished. So the dust of snow stands for
Joy.
joy, joy of life, joy of source of joy. The snow, dust of snow stands for
Joy.
source of joy, understood?
Yes.
As the the fall of the snow filled his life with, replaced his replaced the sorrows in his heart with joy, understood? Have there been times when you felt depressed or hopeless? Yes, I have been. This is another question, question number 3. Yes, there have been times when I felt depressed or hopeless, because I am a human being, and like all human beings, I also felt depressed or hopeless. Have you experienced a similar moment that changed your mood that day? Yes, I once had very bad time, understood? You can write your experience. Once I did I did not do well in class 9 exam, and I was feeling very sad. I thought of coming out first in the class, but what happened, I came second, understood? Then my mother and father felt very sad. Then suddenly there was a holy man who came to our house. He said, joy and sorrow are part of our life. Do not let bad marks obtained in the exam make you feel like you do not exist. If you have done badly, understood, today, don't think like tomorrow you will do badly, understood? Tomorrow you will do well. So always look at the bright side of life. Live in the hope of doing well in future. So your failure teaches you to stand up on your feet and face the problems of life. Understood? Always think the problems that day. I felt that life is a mixture of joy and sorrow, and that man made me understand that life is a mixture of joy and sorrow. So if we have a problems today, we must work hard so that problem may not crop up in future. Understood? That's why I worked hard and came first in class 10. You get it? This is how in test exam, understood, or maybe in some other exams. You get it? And now that problem taught me that I have to think, look at the bright side of life. I must put in my 100% understood and will see life as a source of joy, not to think of life as a source of unhappiness. This is so we should not give importance to the bad experience. Don't give importance. If you give importance to the bad experience of life, then you will think like life is a hell.
Yes.
So you need to get over this kind of perception. Is that clear? Have I been able to answer all your questions?
Yes.
Are you happy? So I will give you the answer to all those questions now.